My wife cheated on me with my best friend. I got my revenge and married his wife. My name's Mason, and I'm 29 years old. I used to think I had a perfect life. I had a good job, a nice house, and a beautiful wife named Diana. We had been married for 5 years, and I believed we were happy. But recently things started to change. Diana and I met in college. She was charming and funny, and I fell in love with her right away. I remember the first time I saw her. She was laughing with her friends, her smile lighting up the room. We clicked instantly, and our relationship blossomed quickly. I thought we were meant to be together forever. Logan, my best friend, was there through it all. He was the kind of guy who could make anyone laugh. We played basketball together, went to parties, and shared our dreams. Logan and I were like brothers. I couldn't imagine my life without him. But recently, I started to notice little things. Diana seemed distant, and she was often on her phone, texting late into the night. When I asked her about it, she brushed it off, saying she was just busy with work. I wanted to trust her, but my gut feeling told me something was wrong. One day, while cleaning up the living room, I found a card on the floor. It was a small, colorful envelope with elegant writing on it. Curiosity got the better of me, and I opened it. As I read the words inside, my heart sank. The card was from Logan, filled with intimate messages that should have been meant for Diana alone. It was hot and passionate, and my blood ran cold. I felt sick. How could my best friend do this to me? I had trusted him with everything. I threw the card down, my hands shaking. I needed to confront Diana. I didn't want to believe it, but I couldn't ignore the evidence. When I walked into the kitchen, she was standing by the counter, pouring herself a glass of water. I felt a surge of anger and pain. "Diana!" I shouted, and she turned, startled. "We need to talk." Her expression changed, and I could see a flicker of worry in her eyes. "What's wrong, Mason?" I took a deep breath, my heart pounding. "I found this," I said, holding up the card. "How could you do this to me, with Logan?" For a moment she stood there, silent. Then, to my surprise, she shrugged. "Mason, you're overreacting. It's not what you think." "Not what I think," I echoed, my voice rising. "It's exactly what I think. How could you betray me like this, after everything we've been through?" Diana crossed her arms and looked away. "You don't understand. Logan and I were just having fun. It didn't mean anything." I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. "Fun? You call this fun? You're sleeping with my best friend, and you think it's nothing?" Her face hardened, and she still wouldn't meet my eyes. "You always work late. You never pay attention to me anymore. I was lonely." Her words struck me like a blow. I had been busy with work, but that didn't excuse her betrayal. "So you chose to cheat? You chose to hurt me?" "Maybe I did," she said, her voice cold. "Maybe I was tired of waiting for you to notice me." I felt rage boiling inside me. "I can't believe you're saying this. You made a choice, Diana. You chose him over me. You didn't even think about how I would feel." She shrugged again, and it felt like a knife in my heart. "I don't know what to say, Mason. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry for what I wanted." I couldn't take it anymore. "I want a divorce." The words came out more forcefully than I intended, but they were true. Diana stared at me, shock in her eyes. "You can't be serious." "I am serious. You've destroyed everything we had. I can't live like this. I deserve better." With that, I turned and walked out of the kitchen. My mind was racing. I felt broken, betrayed, and utterly alone. How could this happen? How could the two people I trusted the most hurt me so deeply? I stumbled out of the house and into my car, my heart heavy. I drove aimlessly, tears streaming down my face. Memories of our happy moments played in my mind like a cruel joke. I couldn't believe the love we had was gone, shattered by betrayal. As I parked in a quiet spot, I took a deep breath, trying to calm myself. I felt a mixture of anger and sadness. Logan had been my brother, and now he was nothing but a traitor. I didn't know what I would do next, but one thing was clear. I would never let this go unanswered. The pain of betrayal burned inside me, but it also sparked something else, a desire for revenge. Little did I know this was just the beginning of a dark and complicated journey. I wiped my tears and stared into the distance. Life as I knew it was over, but I would find a way to reclaim my happiness, even if it meant tearing apart the lives of those who hurt me. After the confrontation with Diana, I felt a mix of emotions: hurt, anger, and confusion. I needed to do something, to take control of the situation. I couldn't just let Logan and Diana get away with what they had done to me. I needed revenge, but I wanted it to be something that truly mattered. A few days later, I found myself sitting at a cafe, staring at my phone. I was thinking about Kate, Logan's wife. She was beautiful and kind, someone I had always respected, but now she was also a part of this twisted situation. I decided I needed to talk to her. Maybe she didn't know what was going on between Logan and Diana. Maybe she deserved to know the truth. I took a deep breath and sent her a text. "Hey Kate, can we meet? I need to talk to you about something important." It felt strange reaching out, but I knew it was necessary. A few minutes later, my phone buzzed with her reply. "Sure, Mason, is everything okay?" I hesitated, but then replied, "Not really. Can we meet at our usual spot?" When I arrived at the cafe, I felt nervous. I hadn't seen Kate in a while. She looked beautiful as always, with her long hair cascading over her shoulders and her bright smile lighting up the room. But today, I could see a hint of worry in her eyes as she approached me. "Mason, what's going on?" she asked, taking a seat across from me. I looked into her eyes and saw a mix of trust and confusion. "It's about Logan," I said, feeling the weight of my words. "And Diana." Her expression changed instantly. "What about them?" I took a deep breath and explained everything. The card, the betrayal, and how Diana had been unfaithful with Logan. As I spoke, I saw shock wash over Kate's face. "I can't believe this," she whispered. "Logan would never." "He did, Kate. I wish I was lying," I replied. "I think you deserve to know the truth." She sat back in her chair, processing the information. "I can't believe he would do this to me. I thought we were happy." I could see her pain mirrored my own. "I'm so sorry. I know how much this hurts. You shouldn't have to go through this." After a few moments of silence, Kate looked at me, her expression hardening. "What do I do now? I can't stay with him after this." That's when the idea hit me. You know, we both deserve better. What if we took control of our situations? What if we didn't just sit back and let them ruin our lives? Her eyes widened, and she leaned forward, intrigued. "What do you mean?" I explained my plan. It was risky, but the thought of taking revenge together felt empowering. We would support each other, and in doing so, I would try to win her over. "Let's show them what they've lost," I said. "Let's make them realize they messed up." Kate smiled for the first time since I started talking. "You're right, they need to see how foolish they were." We spent the next hour discussing details, laughing and plotting our next moves. I felt a connection growing between us, something I hadn't anticipated. We both wanted the same thing: to reclaim our lives and find happiness again. As we finished our coffees, I felt lighter. The pain of my betrayal was still there, but now it was mixed with a sense of purpose. I knew I had to get closer to Kate, to show her how much better life could be without Logan. I could see a future where we could both be happy again. Over the next few weeks, I began to spend more time with Kate. We went to movies, shared meals, and talked about everything: our lives, our dreams, and our frustrations. It was easy to be around her. She made me laugh and feel alive again. Each time we were together, I could see her beginning to heal. She talked about Logan less, and I could sense her anger turning into determination. We were both moving on, and it felt good. One evening, we decided to meet at a park for a picnic. The sun was setting, painting the sky in beautiful colors. We spread out a blanket and unpacked our food, sharing stories and laughter. As we sat there, I realized how much I enjoyed her company. It was refreshing to be with someone who understood my pain and was willing to move forward. "Do you think they even care about us?" Kate asked, her voice quiet. I shook my head. "I doubt it. They're too busy being selfish, but we don't have to let that define us." She smiled, and in that moment, I felt a spark between us. The plan for revenge was turning into something more profound, an opportunity for a new beginning. As the night grew darker, we talked about our dreams and what we wanted from life. I felt a connection I hadn't expected, and I could see that Kate was beginning to feel the same way. "Maybe we should make it official," I suggested playfully. "You know, to show them what they've lost." She laughed softly, her eyes shining. "I like that idea. Let's make them regret it." The thought of us together made my heart race. I realized that my desire for revenge was transforming into something more meaningful. I wanted to be with Kate, not just as a way to get back at Logan, but because I genuinely liked her. As we packed up our picnic, I knew that this was just the beginning. Together, we would find happiness again, and I would make sure that Logan and Diana understood the true cost of their betrayal. As the days turned into weeks, my connection with Kate deepened. What started as a plan for revenge slowly transformed into something much more meaningful. We shared our stories, our pain, and our hopes for the future. It felt like we were both healing together, and every moment spent with her brought a little more light into my life. We would often meet at the park or grab coffee at our favorite cafe. Each conversation revealed more about our lives and our struggles. I learned that Kate had always felt overshadowed by Logan's outgoing personality. She was sweet and caring, but he often took the spotlight, leaving her feeling unnoticed. I could relate to that. I had felt the same way with Diana, especially in the later years of our marriage. One afternoon, as we walked through the park, I turned to her. "You know, I never realized how much we have in common. It's strange how life has brought us together like this." She smiled, her eyes sparkling. "I know what you mean. It feels like we're in this together. I didn't expect to feel so comfortable talking to you." We continued walking, sharing more about our lives. I talked about my childhood, my dreams of traveling, and how I had always wanted to start my own business. She listened intently, encouraging me with each word. In return, Kate opened up about her own dreams, of starting a charity for children in need, a passion she had kept hidden for too long. As we spent more time together, I started to notice how much I enjoyed her presence. She had a way of making me feel valued and understood. Every laugh we shared and every serious conversation brought us closer, and I could feel a spark between us. One evening, after a particularly long day, I invited Kate over for dinner at my place. I wanted to create a relaxed atmosphere where we could talk freely. I prepared pasta, her favorite, and set the table with candles, hoping to make the night special. When she arrived, I could see her surprise at the effort I had put in. "Wow, Mason, this looks amazing," she exclaimed, a smile spreading across her face. We enjoyed a lovely dinner, and as the evening wore on, the atmosphere felt charged. We shared stories, laughed about silly moments, and gradually the conversation turned more personal. I could see the vulnerability in her eyes, and I wanted to be there for her, to support her in every way possible. "Thank you for doing this," she said softly, looking into my eyes. "It means a lot to me. I didn't think I could find joy again after everything." I reached across the table and took her hand. "You deserve happiness, Kate. We both do. We've been through so much, and it's time to reclaim our lives." Our gaze locked, and I felt a surge of emotions. It was as if the world around us faded away, and in that moment, it was just the two of us. I leaned closer, and without thinking, I brushed my lips against hers. It was soft and hesitant at first, but then it turned into something more. Her lips were warm and inviting, and I felt a rush of excitement. I pulled back slightly, searching her eyes for any sign of hesitation. Instead, I saw a smile. "Wow," she whispered, "that was unexpected." "Yeah," I replied, still feeling the warmth of our kiss. "But I'm glad it happened." We both laughed nervously, but there was a new understanding between us. The kiss had changed everything. It shifted our relationship from friends to something deeper. After dinner, we decided to take a walk around my neighborhood. The night air was cool and the stars sparkled above us. As we strolled, I reached for her hand, intertwining my fingers with hers. It felt natural and right, as if we had been doing this forever. "Can we take a picture?" I asked suddenly, wanting to capture this moment. "You know, to send to our exes?" Kate chuckled, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Absolutely. Let's show them what they're missing." We found a quiet spot under a street lamp, the light casting a warm glow around us. I held my phone out, framing the shot perfectly. "Okay, on the count of 3, I said, looking at her. 1, 2, 3. We leaned in and I kissed her again, this time more confidently. I felt her smile against my lips, and I knew this was a moment I wanted to remember. After a few seconds, I pulled away and looked at the picture. It captured our joy perfectly. Two people finding solace in each other amidst the chaos of their lives. "Let's send it," I said, excitement bubbling inside me. I quickly texted the photo to both Logan and Diana, a bold move that felt exhilarating. Kate laughed. "I can't believe we just did that." "They won't know what hit them," I hope they realize how foolish they were, I replied, feeling a sense of satisfaction. But more than that, I hope they see how much we've moved on. As we continued our walk, I felt a sense of liberation. I was no longer just a man seeking revenge. I was a man who had found a connection, someone who understood my pain and shared my journey. The rest of the evening was filled with laughter and deep conversation. We talked about our hopes for the future, our dreams, and how we could support each other as we moved forward. I felt lighter than I had in months. By the time we said goodnight, I realized that our relationship had evolved into something beautiful. What started as a plan for revenge had turned into a bond filled with understanding, support, and affection. As I watched Kate walk away, I felt hopeful. Together, we would navigate this new path, and I was ready to embrace whatever came next. The pain of the past was still there, but with Kate by my side, I knew I could face anything. As the weeks went by, my connection with Kate grew stronger. What started as a way to get back at our exes blossomed into something beautiful. Each moment we spent together felt special, and I realized I was falling for her. We began to explore the city, visiting new restaurants and attending local events. One weekend, we went to a street fair, where we laughed, played games, and tried all kinds of delicious food. With every shared experience, I felt my heart open up more and more. One evening, after a particularly fun day, we found ourselves sitting on a bench by the river, watching the sunset. The sky was painted with vibrant oranges and pinks, and the view was breathtaking. Kate leaned against me, and I wrapped my arm around her shoulders, feeling her warmth. "This feels perfect," she said softly, gazing at the horizon. "It really does," I replied, my heart swelling with affection. I never expected to feel this way again, especially after everything that happened. She turned to me, her eyes shining. "Neither did I. But with you, it just feels right." In that moment, I knew I couldn't hold back any longer. I leaned in and kissed her, feeling a rush of emotions. This kiss was different from the last. It was filled with passion and longing. When we pulled apart, I could see the same realization in her eyes. "I think I'm falling for you, Kate," I confessed, my voice barely above a whisper. She smiled, her cheeks flushed. "I feel the same way, Mason. It's like we were meant to find each other." From that night on, our relationship deepened. We spent more nights together, cooking dinners, watching movies, and simply enjoying each other's company. I felt happier than I had in a long time, and I could tell she felt the same. But as our relationship blossomed, I knew that Logan wouldn't take this lightly. He was still trying to win Kate back, and I could feel the tension building. One afternoon, I received a text from Kate. "Logan wants to talk. He's been trying to reach me." I felt a knot form in my stomach. "Are you going to meet with him?" I asked, nervous about what that might mean for us. "I don't know. I think I need to hear what he has to say, but I don't want to give him any hope," she replied. I understood her need for closure, but I couldn't shake the feeling of jealousy. "Just be careful, okay? I don't want you to feel pressured into anything." "Of course. I'll be honest with him. I promise," she reassured me. The next day, Kate met with Logan. I spent the hours waiting anxiously, my mind racing with thoughts of what could happen. Would he try to manipulate her? Would she feel guilty? When she finally returned, I could see the mix of emotions on her face. "How did it go?" I asked, my heart pounding. "It was awkward," she admitted, sitting down beside me. "Logan was upset and kept saying he made a mistake, he wants me back." I felt a pang of jealousy but forced myself to remain calm. "What did you say?" I told him the truth. I said I was happy now and that I couldn't go back to the way things were, she replied, her voice steady. Relief washed over me. "I'm glad you stood your ground." "I didn't want to hurt him, but I also can't ignore my feelings for you, Mason," she continued, looking into my eyes. "I'm all in for us." Hearing those words made my heart race. I leaned in and kissed her, feeling grateful for our bond. "We'll get through this together," I promised. As the days passed, Logan continued to reach out to Kate, but she remained firm in her decision. I admired her strength and commitment. She had been through so much, and now she was choosing happiness. One evening, as we sat on the couch watching a movie, I felt a sudden wave of affection. I turned to Kate, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "I can't believe how lucky I am to have you in my life," I said, my voice soft. She smiled, her eyes sparkling. I feel the same way. You've shown me what real love feels like. That night, as we cuddled on the couch, I realized that my initial desire for revenge had transformed into something genuine and beautiful. I wasn't just with Kate to get back at Logan. I truly loved her. But the threat of Logan loomed over us. I knew he wouldn't give up easily. One afternoon, while we were out running errands, we bumped into him. He was with a group of friends, and when he spotted us, his face darkened. "Mason," he said, his tone icy. "Kate." "Logan," I replied, trying to keep my composure. "Nice to see you two together," he said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "How long has this been going on?" "Long enough," I shot back, feeling the tension rise. Kate stepped in, her voice steady. "Logan, I've moved on. You need to do the same." He looked at her, frustration etched on his face. "You think this will last? You're just a rebound for him." I could feel my anger boiling over. "That's not true, and you know it. Kate deserves someone who values her, not someone who betrays her." Logan sneered, "We'll see about that." As we walked away, I felt a mixture of anger and sadness. I didn't want to fight him, but I also wouldn't let him intimidate us. Kate squeezed my hand, offering me support. "You stood up for me," she said softly. "Thank you." "I'll always stand up for you," I replied, pulling her closer. That encounter only strengthened our bond. We knew we had each other, and nothing could break that connection. Each day felt like a new adventure, and I was ready to face whatever challenges came our way. As the weeks turned into months, I found myself dreaming about a future with Kate. I pictured us building a life together, filled with love and laughter. The pain of the past began to fade, replaced by hope and excitement. With every shared experience, every laugh, and every moment spent together, I fell more deeply in love with her. This was real love, a bond forged through adversity and understanding. We had both been through hell, but now we were rising from the ashes together. I knew we would face challenges ahead, especially with Logan still in the picture, but I also knew that together we could overcome anything. As we walked hand in hand into our future, I felt a sense of peace. We were ready to embrace love and leave the past behind. The day of our wedding arrived, and I could hardly believe it was happening. It felt surreal to be marrying Kate, the woman who had transformed my life in ways I never imagined. The journey from betrayal to love had been unexpected, but every step had led us here. As I stood at the altar, waiting for Kate to walk down the aisle, I couldn't help but reflect on how far we had come. Just months ago, we were two broken people, trying to piece our lives back together. Now we were ready to start anew, hand in hand. The venue was beautiful, decorated with soft flowers and twinkling lights. Friends and family filled the seats, their faces lit with smiles and excitement. I felt a mix of nerves and joy, but mostly, I felt grateful. Grateful for Kate, for the love we had found, and for the chance to create a future together. When the music began to play, I turned to see Kate making her way towards me. She looked stunning in her white dress, her hair flowing elegantly down her back. My heart raced as she approached, her eyes locked onto mine. In that moment, everything else faded away. It was just us. As she reached the altar, I took her hands in mine, feeling the warmth and love radiate between us. "You look incredible," I whispered, my voice full of emotion. "Thank you," she smiled, her eyes shining. "I can't believe this day is finally here." The ceremony began, and as we exchanged vows, I felt the weight of the past lift off my shoulders. I promised to support her, to love her, and to cherish every moment we had together. She promised the same to me, and I could feel the sincerity in her words. As we sealed our vows with a kiss, the crowd erupted into cheers. I pulled her closer, feeling a sense of completeness. This was more than just a marriage. It was a celebration of our journey, a testament to the love we had built from the ashes of our pasts. After the ceremony, we moved to the reception, where laughter and joy filled the air. Friends and family congratulated us, sharing in our happiness. I watched as Kate interacted with everyone, her smile infectious. She radiated joy, and I couldn't help but feel lucky to have her by my side. As the night wore on, we danced together under the stars. The music played softly, creating a romantic atmosphere. I held her close, feeling as though we were the only two people in the world. "Can you believe this is real?" I asked, looking into her eyes. "No, it feels like a dream," she replied, leaning her head on my shoulder. "I never thought I could be this happy again." Neither did I said, pulling back to look at her. But we did it together. We found each other when we needed it most. As the evening continued, we shared stories and laughter with our guests. It was a night filled with love, but there was one person missing. Logan. I hadn't heard from him since our last encounter, and part of me wondered how he was taking everything. But in that moment, I realized it didn't matter. This day was about us and the new life we were building together. I glanced around at our friends and family, all of whom supported us, and I felt a surge of gratitude. We had created a new beginning, and nothing could take that away. As the clock struck midnight, we gathered everyone for the final dance. Kate and I stood together, surrounded by our loved ones, as the music played softly. I looked around at the smiling faces, feeling the warmth of their love envelop us. When the song ended, I took a deep breath, preparing to speak. "Thank you all for being here today. This means so much to us," I said, my voice steady. "Kate and I have been through a lot, and we wouldn't be here without your support." The crowd cheered, and I felt Kate squeeze my hand. "We are excited to start this new journey together," I continued, "and we hope to share many more happy moments with all of you." As the applause died down, I turned to Kate, her eyes glistening with joy. "This is just the beginning," I whispered, leaning in to kiss her again. The night came to a close, and as we said our goodbyes, I couldn't help but feel hopeful about the future. We were leaving the past behind, and together we would create a life filled with love, laughter, and adventure. Later that night, as we drove away from the reception, I turned to Kate. "So where to next?" She laughed, a sound that filled my heart with warmth. "Anywhere with you is where I want to be." I smiled, knowing that together we could face anything that came our way. The journey ahead was uncertain, but we had each other, and that was all that mattered. As we settled into our new life together, I felt a sense of peace. The pain of betrayal had faded, replaced by the promise of love and happiness. I knew that Logan and Diana were both alone now, left to face the consequences of their actions. But I didn't want to dwell on that. My focus was on Kate and our future. We had built something beautiful from the ashes of our pasts, and I was determined to nurture that love. With each passing day, our bond grew stronger. We faced challenges together, always supporting one another. Kate's laughter filled our home, and I cherished every moment spent with her. Together, we were ready to embrace whatever life had in store for us. With love as our foundation, I knew that this was just the beginning of a beautiful adventure, filled with hope and endless possibilities. And as we moved forward, I felt certain that we would continue to build a life that celebrated our love, leaving the past where it belonged, behind us. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss our next video. See you next time.